Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. This is your favorite Iowa podcast, known to man, Hawk Talk on Melrose. I am your co-host, Tyler. I'm doing the intro today. Alongside me, as always, Mr. Collin Vetter. Here to talk some Iowa Northwestern recap of what we saw yesterday at Wrigley Field, kind of our thoughts and what we're expecting these last few games. We're down the home stretch. We got a dub yesterday. Obviously it was a very low scoring game and one that wasn't too exciting, but I'm just curious to hear obviously our thoughts and recap on that game. So how you doing this morning, Collin? It's Sunday. Got an extra hour of sleep. How you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling juiced up, ready to go, ready to watch some NFL today, and gonna be a good day. But yeah, let's get right into it. And hey, I'm also feeling good because our quarterback beat his average QBR. He finished with a 21.4 QBR yesterday, which is better than his average of 8.4. So things are looking bright in Hawkeye world. So
Better than 8.4. Okay.
It's only going to get better from here. Let's go.
That's true. Hey, like I've always said, it can only go up, right?
Man, yeah, we'll start with the offense because man, there's so much to just kind of dive deep into, but this offense, we've been saying it for weeks now. It is like every week finding new ways to be bad. And like yesterday was like another example of just a horrible display. Now, the one good news was, LaShawn Williams did finish with 79 yards rushing. I mean, that's pretty good. But your leading receiver or just receiving in general, even with tight ends, was Caleb Brown. And that was at the end of the game when he caught one pass for 23 yards. He was your leading receiver and tight ends receiving in general.
From one catch, yep.
One catch. Incredible. Speaking of that, I cannot believe that it took until November 4th for Caleb Brown to finally record his first reception as an Iowa Hawkeye. If you would have told me back on, May 5th or May 4th when we got him, we actually did a instant reaction almost to it because it was such like, oh my gosh, we finally landed a good wide receiver. And if one of us would have said to the other, hey, by the way, it's going to take until November 4th for him to finally catch a pass, not just like be in the game, but like actually catch a pass.
Yeah.
I think whoever would say it, the other person would start laughing his ass off. Like, yeah, there's no way he's going to probably catch a pass first game. Like, so that I thought that was funny. I mean, it came at a good time. Let's just say that. I mean, we needed that 23 yards to get us into, an opportunity to kick a field goal. Now we can talk about the end there where it felt like Kirk Ferentz thought like a 53-yard kick, even though we have a good kicker, was like a chip shot, the way that we were just like running the football for 3 plays in a row. We could talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, with this offense, man, like it's so bad. And Deacon Hill, we could sit here and keep saying it, but he's probably the worst quarterback in D1 football. He's just not a good quarterback. Yesterday, there was a moment where he had a fumble. Thankfully, we got on top of it. He had an interception, which was a horrible throw. He had 65 yards passing yesterday. 65 yards passing. Just, it's like, at what point does it take for someone else to get a shot? And I'm not saying the offense is going to look any better with someone else out there. I keep saying that because I want to reiterate that this offense is broken beyond repair. But Can you at least bring someone out there just to see what would happen? Because anything is better than what we have out there right now. I mean, Deacon Hill is just not a good quarterback.
Yeah, just something different to maybe provide, like you kind of mentioned it, your juice for the podcast. Provide some juice for this offense, something different, right? Like we say that about a new offensive coordinator coming in, for this offense to provide some life. How about a new quarterback? Because yeah, we're winning, but like if it's any other team that we're playing in the Big Ten yesterday, are we winning that game? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Because Northwestern's obviously not a good football team. Now they're better than what they were projected. We talked about that. We didn't think they'd win more than maybe 1 or 2 games, and they've exceeded expectations and why we were honestly a little nervous going into this game. But if we're playing maybe any other team, I mean, that could have easily been a loss yesterday. And yeah, we got up 7-0 early in the third quarter and we coasted, and right on cue, Northwestern makes a play, gets a touchdown, and we're knotted up. What's funny to me, and I feel like we've been in this position before, maybe not too often, and I'm not saying our offense is like good or anything because we're terrible, we're the worst, but why does it always seem like it takes at the end of the game for us to finally start doing something? Why did it take at the end of the game to complete that 23-yard pass to Caleb Brown and to get ourselves in field goal range? What? Why? Why can't we throw to Caleb Brown in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter? Like,
Yep.
we've seen this before where like we play down to our level of competition because we don't care about stats. We don't care about how we win as long as we get the W. And like, I feel like I've seen this before where it just takes the end of the game for us to finally do anything. I mean, it's a totally different situation. But even like Minnesota, it's like, okay, that like the end of the game, it's a totally different situation because I know it's a punt return that actually wasn't, a touchdown, but it always takes the end of the game because we're close or we're losing for us to finally do anything. And that's what's frustrating.
Yeah, I texted to you and then also the group chat that I'm in. That touchdown that they scored, it shouldn't even that touchdown shouldn't even matter because at that point, if we had just a pulse on offense, we would have been up by multiple possessions. Like we would have been up if we just had a decent offense, we would be up by 17, 20 plus points, honestly, that game where that touchdown wouldn't even matter. But no, since our offense is horrible and since Kirk elects to play this style of football,
Right.
things are close. And yeah, I mean, it took a field goal to beat Northwestern. Now,
a 53-yard field goal.
Yep. Now I will say this, and I was thinking this last night after the game, and a little bit I'm not going to blame because we keep talking about this. What I'm about ready to say, I'm not going to blame all of it on it because we would be bad if this wasn't the case, but man, like these injuries are starting to pile up on the offense. I did not realize, I saw a tweet last night that 4 offensive linemen got hurt yesterday. Logan Jones, Mason Richmond, Rusty Feth, and Bo Stevens. 2 of which I've heard from some rumors they're out for the year. I don't know which 2 it is. I'm going to guess probably Bo Stevens because he got carted off. And then like someone said Rusty Feth was in like an arm cast. Like these injuries are starting to pile up on top of obviously losing your quarterback, Cade, losing, Eric Gall, Luke Lachey. I mean, if we had a healthy offense, like it would be a little bit better. I mean, I will admit that. Like I'm not
sure.
It wouldn't be some great thing ever. And like, oh my God,
no.
But like yesterday, if we had a healthy offense, and let's face it, I mean, most teams are not healthy in November. I get that, but come on, like these many players, like that's almost like unlucky at that point. If we had the majority of these players, like we probably would have won that game by 10 points, which is not saying much. I mean, it's still not, I mean, it should be more than that, but I think like these last couple of weeks, or even Minnesota, if we had Cade, we had Luke Lachey, we had Eric Gall, like we probably win that game pretty easily. And when I say easily, probably by 10 points, right? So with that being said, with all these injuries, with finding new ways to just look horrible on offense, and I hate saying this because I don't want this to happen. I don't want to be like, see, I told you so. But these next 2 home games, we are losing one of these next 2 games. Rutgers and Illinois are better than the last 2 teams we faced, and we struggled mightily against both teams. We lost to one of those teams, and that was Minnesota. We are going to lose one of these next 2 games because of our offense. Rutgers has been playing really good football. They competed against Ohio State yesterday. They competed against Michigan for a little bit, but those are really, really good teams. The rest of the games, they've kind of taken care of business. And Illinois is starting to find their stride. They were horrible at the beginning of the year, but Big Berth got them got some things figured out, and they're kind of back on track a little bit. They beat Minnesota. All I'm saying is one of these next 2 games we are going to lose because of how bad our offense is and because of the style of play, and it's going to catch up to us, and we're going to lose one of the next 2 games. I hate saying that. I don't want that to happen. I hope I'm dead wrong on that. I just
right. And that's where I go back to what I just said. if it was any other team yesterday, besides Northwestern, we probably lose that game because, and you're right. I mean, don't get me wrong. We hate to make excuses, and we rarely do, but there does come a point when you have this many injuries to not only the offensive line, but the few skill position players that Iowa actually excels in, aka tight ends and quarterback. I'm not saying that we excel at quarterback, but I'm just saying that was an upgrade, right, from what we've had. And when you lose those guys for the year, I mean, right, you can only do so much. Now, that's where a creative offensive coordinator and maybe more open-minded head coach would come up with different ways to get still guys like Caleb Brown, who are healthy and available, the ball. Guys like, I don't know what happened to Caleb Johnson. Why didn't he play yesterday? Do you have any insight on that?
I actually wrote that down. I have no idea. He was suited up, and I was going to kind of mention that.
I saw him on the sideline, but
where was he at? I have no idea.
You can't tell me with the lack of injuries that he's a top 3 offensive player that we have, and he just didn't play. It's like, okay.
Here's another player that it's like, where's he? I kind of almost forgot about him. Seth Anderson. Right? Seth Anderson. Yeah. Like, where's he been?
I don't know. Like, if they're just in like the doghouse or something, dude, I don't know. But you can't tell me like, oh, well, we have all these injuries, so we can't do anything. It's like, well, no, we still have guys that are, starters that aren't even like playing right now. So I don't know what we're doing. Now I will say, we'll probably talk about it. I texted you yesterday and I was like in the middle of the game, I'm like, why can we please just see Cooper DeJean out on offense? And right on cue after like a commercial break, he's running some like jet motion thing and gets the ball and actually gets 8 yards. And then follows it up by like as a decoy, kind of the same play, except they hand it off to the running back for a first down. And I was like, okay, we're actually moving. This is effective. See what happens when you put someone in like that. All the attention goes to him. And then he obviously comes out and we don't see him the rest of the game. And it's like back to doing nothing on offense beside, for the majority of the rest of the game. And so I don't know. You're right. Injuries are definitely a part of it. I just think like it is a philosophy. It doesn't really matter. Like you said, if we had all those guys healthy, how much would we really be winning by? I don't think it'd be more than, like you said, maybe 10 points. But obviously it wouldn't have came down to that, maybe that 53-yard field goal that, thank God, Drew Stevens just crushed. So
yeah. With going to Cooper for a second, I think moving forward, and I just talked about, how I feel like these next 2 games we'll lose one of them because of our offense. But, at that point, let's try something different. Let's put Cooper out there not just a few possessions a game. Just see what will happen. Bring some life into the offense, and you never know what will happen with him out there, either as a decoy or actually giving him the ball. I thought it was nice seeing him out there yesterday. And then at halftime, there was a tweet that said Caleb Brown was going to move to number 81. So I was like, oh boy, we're going to see Cooper more. And did we? No. So what was the point of Caleb switching his jersey if we never did it again? So like,
pointless.
I hope that.
I think it had a lot to do, Collin, real quick, that we got up 7-0 early. Right.
Yep,
and then what do we do when we get a lead? We shut it down. Everything is shut down. We run the ball, try to chew clock. It's a lot of 3 and outs at that point. Yeah.
So here's the thing too. So, they keep talking about how Deacon's clear number 1, right? They have full faith in him, clear number 1. Kind of showed me yesterday that they don't at the end of the game and we were just talking about before when Caleb Brown got that touch or that catch, we run the ball 3 times in a row to set up a chip shot, according to probably what Ferentz probably thought, even though it was a 53-yarder, which he actually missed earlier in the game.
52.
Or 52, correct. Yeah. So, what are we doing running the ball 3 times? That shows me that you have no faith in your quarterback. So why is he out there? I really didn't understand that. Now, obviously, the kick went in, so all is good. But like he misses that kick, we are even more fed up. Like, why did we not throw the ball at least once after we completed a 23-yard catch to Caleb Brown? I just don't understand that type of stuff. But we get bailed out again by the win, and I'm happy we won. But like, I just feel like sometimes it's like this stuff that happens. It's like, of course, like we get lucky, like Kirk gets lucky
Right.
with this type of style. And it's like, dude, like when are you ever going to learn? So at the end of the game, Kirk says today's performance was a good demonstration of complementary football. 169 total yards on the offense, and that was good complementary football. I really don't get it. I don't know if we're being gaslit, if he's just trolling us at this point, or if he's truly, which I feel like this is probably it, he's truly like thinks that like this is complementary football. And that is what worries me as we move forward, because obviously when we recorded on the last episode, that was before he kind of came out and said he's going to be coming back. So at that point, we were thinking, oh, maybe he won't come back. But now it sounds like he is. And that's what has me worried as we move forward. And as he finds a new offense coordinator, is I think he truthfully thinks that this is like a good way, like a good style, like a way to win games. And I think he truthfully thinks that even if the offense is bad, if they just do enough, just a little bit, score one touchdown, that's good complementary football. I can't believe it. Like, it is absolutely astonishing that that's even a thing. And for me, it's, anyone that is Kirk apologists or whatever, just think about this. It's 3 years now in a row, maybe two, but these last 2 years, we are wasting a championship elite level defense. Just think about that the last couple of years because of our offense. I was watching the Iowa State Kansas game last night, and I'm not saying Kansas is anything spectacular, but watching their offense and watching
their offense is actually pretty spectacular.
It is really good, but like
they're top. But I agree.
And
it's Kansas.
Watching them play, and here's the thing too, like they're not getting the talent like Alabama and Oregon. Like they're getting,
they're also playing with a backup quarterback, by the way.
Exactly. Right, and watching them, it's like, just think if we just had an offense similar to that, this would be a top 10 team these last 2 years with our defense. And it's just annoying when people can sit here and be like, well, at least we're winning. At least we're doing the job. And at least, we're getting wins against Northwestern by 3 points and, losing to Minnesota at home, even though Minnesota is a garbage team this year. And I keep saying it, they are not a good team and we lose to them. But hey, at least we beat Northwestern, and we're 7-2 right now. That's awesome. But we are wasting a championship level defense. How can you not see that? If we had a good offense, we would be in the top 10 right now. We'd probably only have one loss. Maybe that Penn State game would have been a lot more interesting if you had a good offense. Like, it's just so annoying that like we have got to this point where you have people that defend this style when you have to realize, like, dude, all we have to have is a good offense, and we would be a damn good football team.
Well, here's what I'll say to that. And if that's really Kirk's way of thinking that this is complementary football, like you just kind of outlined, he's in a rude awakening next year, Collin. Anybody tuned into that Washington USC game last night? Now, I know there wasn't any defense played, and we would actually play pretty dang good defense. But I don't think any of those teams are only scoring 7 points like Northwestern did yesterday. Am I wrong about that? No.
Yeah. No.
So that might be true for being in a West division. That is correct. But we are in a new era of college football. We are moving towards no divisions, and 4 teams coming in that we're all ranked in the top 25 as far as I think as of last night.
Yeah.
I don't know about UCLA, but no, that's not gonna work going forward. And I mean, you're exactly right. Like, we really like if you think about it, like we kind of escaped with a win there yesterday afternoon. Like, because really, like, if that game gets to overtime, dude, I don't know. I just don't know. Because if we give up a touchdown in overtime, it's done. Like, it took a blocked punt for us to score a touchdown. I was texting you throughout the game. I'm like, if our defense or special teams doesn't come up with something, we're not winning this game.
No. With
Deacon Hill at quarterback, because he doesn't do anything. Now, he scored a touchdown, but it was inside the red, like 10-yard line. So it's not came off of play action, which great. I love the play call, actually, because I think if we run it consistently there, we're not scoring a touchdown. So
no,
thank God we called that, but it was one of the few times that we actually did anything. And I don't know, man, it's just tough to watch. And it's tough because I know, like, you're exactly right. Like, we're not and it doesn't matter the opponent. I've said this consistently on this podcast. So those are the last few weeks. It doesn't matter the opponent. It's going to be a 1-score game the rest of the way.
Yeah.
what team are we going to beat by 9 or more points? There's absolutely no shot of that. So it is what it is.
I go back to last year, and we were kind of finding ways to win towards the end of the year. We beat Minnesota on the road. We do all that, and we go and we play Nebraska at the end of the year, and we finally that game, our defense finally kind of just did not play very well, and we lose by multiple touchdowns because our offense is that bad, and that's what I feel like one of these next 2 games. Now, I'm not thinking that it's going to be a blowout, because I think, like our defense is really good, and the next 2 teams that we face offensively, they don't have a Trey Palmer like Nebraska did last year. So I'm not saying that, but like, I just feel like it's going to catch up to us one of these next 2 games, especially with if we keep doing this Deacon Hill experiment at quarterback. It's not going to go over well. He's a turnover machine. He's just not a good football player. It's just as simple as that. I hate saying that because I don't want to bash the kid, but he's just not. Like, he was.
How bad is Marco Lanes and Joey Labus then? Are they just the worst, like bottom of the barrel, shouldn't be in Division I football? Like, what are we doing?
No idea. Also, I was going to say this before too. We have like 2 plays right now in our arsenal on offense, and that's the bootleg pass to like the tight end and run up the middle. Like, literally, that's like the 2 plays that we run like all the 100%. Time. Like, it's gotten to that point. And I get it. Like, some of it has to do with injuries, and like, we're just so limited. I mean, we were already limited. We are now even more limited, but still, it's like, it is so funny that, like, if you're just going to do that, then you might as well just have Cooper DeJean out there all the time and just running 100%. Like Wildcat. Like, that would be better off than what we're doing now. Let's switch real quick, and we'll end it, short podcast, to the defense, because I think the defense deserves a lot of credit and a little bit of a talk. I know sometimes we don't really talk about the defense because their offense is so bad, and that's kind of the main talking points. But man, that goal line stand was absolutely incredible. Was so much fun. That was awesome. Like, it gave me shades of when we had the goal line stand against Syracuse back in like 2000 and what was it, 7, when we were like 10 years old. But yeah, it was awesome. And with the defense, it's like, you can be, oh well, we gave up a touchdown. It's like, well, it's 1 touchdown. And I would think that was the first touchdown that in like 12 quarters, 11 or 12 quarters, which is absolutely incredible. And you could tell by the end of the game, because our defense was out there so long, that they were tired at that point. I mean, they were out there for so much because their offense 3 and out. So you give up a touchdown. Okay, whatever. But yes, another incredible performance by our defense. Jay Higgins, certified stud.
4 times inside the 1 yard line, and you don't give up a touchdown. I mean, I had chills because
I did too.
I was just fist pumping, screaming. I'm sitting at home here in my own living room by myself, just going berserk. The neighbors probably are like, what the hell is going on? But it felt so good because there's not a lot. I mean, granted, we are winning, but there's not a lot to cheer about when your offense is so bad. And like, you made an excellent point, and you sent this, I think, to your group chat, and you actually texted me it, and you're like, everyone makes fun of Iowa's over-unders because our offense sucks and we always hit the under. Well, doesn't that have to do with our defense too? Don't they have something to say about that? Like holding our opponents to 7 points or 10 points or freaking 0 points half the time. It's like our defense is so freaking good. And yeah, all the attention is on the offense and Brian and Kirk. And man, yesterday was a really just that goal line stand, those four stops in a row, just it really shined that light on the defense, and the credit that they actually deserve, because they're the reason we win literally 99% of our games at this point.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up about what I text, because I totally forgot about that, and I wanted to share it today, but I honestly forgot about it. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I do get a little fed up because at the same time, yes, our offense is embarrassing and it has the right to be mocked at and laughed at. But, a little bit has to do with, like our defense. Like, you got to give Phil and the boys some credit that, like, we are holding teams. I mean, Northwestern had 7 points. Minnesota had 12. They couldn't even find the end zone as a touchdown. And I think 6 of their 12 points came because our offense sucks ass and that they got the ball at like the plus territory. So they probably would have finished with like only 6 points if that doesn't happen.
Minnesota was all field goals. Like, it wasn't even
that's
a
what I'm
touchdown.
saying.
Yeah, and like you said, it was because Deacon Hill turned it over inside our own, like our side of the field.
So you got to give a little bit of credit where that's at. Like, so for example, the over under came out for the Rutgers game. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh, I did. I sent it to you.
28 and a half. Okay. And you look at all the replies and everything is about the offense, which is rightfully so. But at the same time, it's like, give a little bit of credit to our defense because we're probably going to hold Rutgers to 10 or less points. So
if we had USC's defense, do you really think the over under would be 28 and a half? No, it wouldn't be.
Yeah. Because we'd be giving up like 20 plus points.
Yeah.
So, part of me, it's like, it's rightfully just to make fun of this embarrassing offense. But at the same time, let's give a little bit of credit to this really good defense that, once again, we are wasting because of our shitty offense, because Kirk is unwilling to adapt and to change. So I guess we kind of covered everything. I really, the only other thing is you don't talk special teams. I thought Torrey Taylor, that was like the first game this year where I really thought he was just off. I don't know what was it. We got pretty lucky. Think about it. That one punt, we get the goal line stand. Of course, we don't get a first down after that. I think we would all guess that we weren't going to get a first down. So we had a punt in deep territory, but that was a really bad punt by Torrey. Usually he will on it, and they usually will get the ball maybe at the 50-yard line or even, back a little bit, and they got it like the 30. It was like, what the hell?
And that's how they scored.
Yeah, that's how they scored.
It was a low line drive where AJ Henning was able to run under it, catch it in full speed, gain like 20-yard return. So yeah, that actually set up but again, we're splitting hairs here. It was a touchdown, right? And that's where we sit here and we laugh because it's like really we're nitpicking, right? But I guess besides that, and Drew Stevens obviously missed that first field goal, which when he missed that, and again, the wind was kind of swirling, but that was an early, like, oh boy, like early sign for me that this wasn't going to be great.
Here we go.
Yeah. But obviously we won. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska all lost. We're at top of the Big Ten again.
It was a great weekend because we win, and then we see our counterparts all lose. We see our in-state rival lose. So yeah, it was a pretty good weekend to say the least. Let's just say that. So
it's true.
Well,
could be worse.
Yeah, it could be. It could be the other way around where we lose and everybody else wins. Well, that will do it for this episode. We'll be back going over the Rutgers game. So far, the weather for next week looks phenomenal for a game in November. High of 52 degrees, sunny. You can't get much better than that when you're talking November, whatever day will be, the 11th to 12th. That is really good. And it'll be my last and your last home football game for the season, which is bittersweet because it just goes by so fast. We get so pumped for the season, and before you know it, it's over like a blink of an eye. And it is going to be bittersweet, kind of, our last tailgate of the year and last, walking in the stadium, leaving the stadium. But gotta cherish it because, like I said,
I do love that it's like a 2:30 game though.
I do too. I'm actually very happy that it was 2:30. I was hoping it was gonna be either 2:30 or a night game, and we got lucky there. So, but yeah, that will do it for this episode. We'll be back on Wednesday night to record and Thursday for the release. So we'll see you then. Have a good week and go Hawks.